Okay, I found this interesting article in the Evening Standard, and I most certainly was not browsing Breitbart. No, that's a false allegation. Qantas Airline tells employees to stop man-interrupting women and to use gender-neutral language. Well, I'm sure that they have a rational explanation for this. An Australian airline has reported released a pamphlet advising employees not to man-interrupt women and to use gender-neutral language. Yes, you see, this is how you can tell that it's the most professional, the most mature, great. This is a top-notch airline because they use words like man-interrupt. They don't bother with that old speak of rudely interrupt. No. They just no old speak for them. Nuh-uh. They are aggressive. Qantas Airlines staff are said to have received an information pack as part of its Spirit of Inclusion Month, detailing a list of potentially offensive terms. A list of potentially offensive terms. Yes. Let's see. I'm sure I can find this somewhere. Let's see. Staff were also allegedly told to avoid words such as mum and dad and husband as wife, as they could be seen to exclude same-sex couples and single-parent families. Because, as we all know, not only are these things completely normal and not to be encouraged, but in single-parent families there are no mums or dads, and same-sex couples are not husbands nor wives. As we all know, that to say that there are husbands in same-sex couples, or that a single mother is a mum, what? There's no such thing as a single mum or dad. That's no. If you're thinking that, just how can you be so ignorant and backwards, and how can you be so repugnant? You scum of the earth. Employees were also advised to minimize man-interruptions. No, you see, this is where I disagree. Minimize, not minimize. It is, in fact, small make. The word is small make. Small make interruptions, okay? Get it right, please. You are still using some old speak. Stop it. In which men in the workplace interrupt or speak over women, because everyone knows that men are inferior, and though they would interrupt and speak over each other constantly, you can't do that because, of course, women are a special case. Words like love, honey, and darling often offend. Love, how dare you? How dare you, you? How dare you? You scum! You, how dare you manufacture and use such hate speech as love? Love is an offensive term. It implies rape. To love someone is literal rape. The list of instructions was linked to the Sydney publication, the Daily Telegraph. According to the newspaper, this information pack read, language can make groups of people invisible. For example, the use of the term chairman can reinforce the idea that leaders are always men. Yes, as we all know, we must fight against the evil patriarchy and their backwards ways, using outdated language from the time when man was a gender-neutral term, and just how dare they, these despicable people, how can they be so ignorant that they think it's okay to use language that from the 18th century. I mean, everyone in the 18th century was racist, and that's when patriarchy came to America. The patriarchy of America has been oppressing women and minorities since 1776. How can they think this is okay? They are so offensive. One section, apparently, why am I speaking with a British accent? Stop that. Ugh. One section apparently urged staff to recognize reality and suggested that staff describe the arrival of the British in the continent from the late 1700s as colonization, because colonizing somewhere, making a colony, that's so evil. Just how can you support the taking of one person and putting them on another continent? How can you possibly support this? This is why the civilization games are just so offensive and hurtful, because they promote colonies, occupation. Yes, you should never, ever be occupied, and I demand that all forms and things cease the microaggression of asking for occupation or invasion or invasion. It explains, describing the arrival of the Europeans as a settlement is a view of Australian history from the perspective of England rather than Australia. Yes. This is just it's so heartbreaking, as all these Australians use the term that was used by England, because everyone just how can these people from England, these English prisoners who came here, how can they possibly use this? How are they not offended? How are they not offended by this? They ought to be up in arms. Australians of the world, unite! Toby Abbott, former Prime Minister of Australia, told 2GB Radio Bo that he thought the pack was political correctness gone too far. How dare he! How dare he! Sting him up, my precious. Sting him up, precious. Sting him up. Congress staff are very good people. They've got to deal with just about every possible type of citizen, and they don't need this kind of nonsense. They really don't, he added. And I'm sure he's probably a pain to watch, because this man is literally Hitler. I can't. In fact, I'm suing the Evening Standard right now. I'm going to write them an angry email, because they included his quote. There must be Nazis. They included his quote. But others praise the airline for its inclusive policies. Well, good for them. They ought to. The inclusiveness, that we ought to strive for inclusiveness. We ought to include everyone who agrees with it. In fact, if you don't use these inclusive terms, you ought to be ostracized. How dare you use these terms? We cannot have you in here if you are not inclusive. You scum of the earth. If you're not inclusive, you should be excluded. Catherine Gillespie wrote on Twitter, "Congratulations, Qantas Information Pack, marking the start of the Qantas Spirit of Inclusion Month. Everyone has the right to a work environment free of harassment and offense. Please use the same inclusive language with customers too." Yes, exactly. Because I cannot tell you how many times I started up a conversation with my hostess, and hey, so what do you think of Australian views from politics? And well, she said something like, well, ever since the settlement of Australia, I think it's been in our tradition, and I was just so offended. How dare this hostess say the word settlement to me? I mean, and this is something I bring up on every trip. I mean, what trip have you brought up the intricacies of your local your bubble, your I can't think of the last time I struck up a conversation with one of the persons working on the plane, and I didn't start talking about the early history of Australia or Robert's Rules of Order. This is what I talk about every time I get on a plane. And they use these triggering terms like chairman and settlement, and it's just so disgusting. It's so disgusting. And they talk about mums. Ew. You think I had a mum? You. No. Lisa Annis from the Diversity Council of Australia, which helped to design the guidelines, told The Australian, I really give credit to the Qantas, who do a lot of work to make their employees feel included and valued and respected, especially now when we're seeing stories of bad behavior. Yes, just as, what's his name? Toby Abbott, yes, that sort of bad behavior. And we have to, you know what we should do? In order to cement the fact that he is a bad man, we have to have everyone come to these rallies where we show him speaking and show his bad behavior, and we have everyone chant, boo, down, you, no, screw you, ooh, boo you. That's what we ought to do. And I mean, we have to make sure that he knows this isn't acceptable behavior. I don't know. I mean, it shouldn't last more than, say, 2 minutes. And we never mention love. Remember, love is hate speech. The Standard has reached out to Qantas for further information. Good. That's what you should do. And remember, I saw some triggering things in here. I think you ought to look into it.